Hey guys, Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina. Welcome to the Sunday night live stream show. That's right, y'all. It's time for the Sunday night show. Appreciate y'all tuning in and hanging out with us and joining us for our Sunday night live stream show. Off the Hook with Captain Hubbard. Going to be talking fishing, answering questions, talking about the weather, what's going on, what's coming up, and giving away free fishing trips. That's right. $1,500 in free trips every Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. right here on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook live stream show. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. We're streaming across a bunch of different platforms and pages. Remember, if you want a chance to win free fishing trips, you do have to comment one time on the Hubbard's Marina YouTube stream. So you got to go pop over to YouTube, find the Hubbard's Marina channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Find the live video. Give it a thumbs up. And make sure you comment one time. Commenting one time on the Hubbard's Marina YouTube live stream is how you enter for a chance to win. Josh is putting the link in the chat on Facebook for you to make it easy. But you got to pop over to YouTube, comment once. Also, while you're on YouTube, don't forget to give the live video a thumbs up. And also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Also on Facebook, if you're watching on Facebook, it always helps if you like and comment as well. Share the video. Help us to reach more people. If you're watching on Instagram, TikTok, same thing. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. Appreciate y'all. Now, also, want to make sure we give a shout-out to our friends over there at Gator Jim's Tackle, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete. If you haven't stopped by to see our friends over at Gator Jim's Tackle, you're missing out. Killer selection, amazing deals, wonderful people, a really, really cool shop. Destination, if you will, in South St. Petersburg. Again, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete. Stop by and tell our friends at Gator Jim's Tackle that Hubbard's Marina sent you. If you bring a young angler with you, they get a free gift too. So check them out. Gator Jim's Tackle. Also, again, want to give a shout out to our supporters out there who make the world go round for us here at Hubbard's Marina in our private supporters group on Facebook. Remember, we do a after show after every live show in our private Facebook supporters group. So if you want access to our private group, it's only $4.99 a month. You get behind the scenes info, more connectivity, and access to that weekly live stream show. So check it out. Again, only $4.99 a month. Josh is dropping the link in the chat on YouTube and Facebook to make it easy. Also, want to make sure we start off the show by thanking you guys for making yet another award possible. So we won the Bestie Award from Visit St. Pete Clearwater. That was the best charter boat in Pinellas County. We won the Best of the Best Award by St. Pete Times for the best charter boat in the Tampa Bay area. We won the Best in the Country Award from USA Today, and for the fourth year in a row, by the way. And also, we got notified yesterday, it went public yesterday, we won Best of Florida charter boat as well from the Best of Florida Guide. So, pretty crazy. We've been on a long run of awards and voting, so appreciate all of your continued support, votes, and just all around. Couldn't do it without you guys. Of course, our Hubbard's Marina family as well, of crew, captain, staff, who make all that possible. A lot of hard-working folks, a lot of dedication, and I just can't thank our team, our Hubbard's Marina family, and our community and fishing friends like you for making it possible. So wanted to first start the show out by thanking you guys as well. It's very humbling. Now, with that, want to make sure we emphasize, if you want a chance to win free trips, I want to make sure you know we start the show off. If you want to win free trips, you have to comment once on the Hubbard's Marina YouTube stream. That enters you for a chance to win. Then you have to watch the entire show live, because if you're picked as one of those lucky winners, you got 5 minutes or less to text us your full home address. A lot of people ask, like, oh, what's the best way to win? Starting the show early and watching the entire show gets your name in the hopper early and keeps your name in that hopper throughout the entire process. So watch the entire show live, comment early, comment often, and it doesn't help, but it helps me if you subscribe, follow, like the video as well. Now, Make sure you stay tuned too, because if you're picked as one of the lucky winners, you got 5 minutes or less to text us your full home address to prove you're watching live. Also want to make sure we give a shout out to those who are sending stars on Facebook. We had George Arterburn with the big 500 stars, Larry White with a big 1,000 stars, LaShonda Brown as well with 400, thank you, and Anthony Barnes. Appreciate y'all sending stars on Facebook. And we definitely appreciate all of those supporters who are watching. And we had William Mitrovic on YouTube with the super chat as well. So appreciate everybody hanging out, supporting, and being a part of our Sunday night live stream show. All right, with that, let's talk a little bit about what we're catching now and show you some photos. And then we'll get into the weather, and then we'll get into your questions. Remember, if you have a question you want answered live during the show, drop it in a text to the phone number at the bottom of the screen. And while we're looking at photos, text your friends. Tell them, hey, the live show's on. Tune in on YouTube, comment, and you got a chance to win free trips. And if you win a free trip, take me with you because I told you about the show. So while we're looking at photos, don't forget to tell your friends and text them the link and get them to join us. All right, so Inshore, we'll start out inshore, show you photos of what we're catching inshore. Lately, redfish action has been pretty steady, and it's seemingly picking up a little bit. We definitely are coming into that time of year where redfish action picks up quite a bit. September and October is kind of peak redfish time when they start to really kind of concentrate and school up more and more. So pretty exciting. We're on the doorstep of that. Some good redfish around the dock lights and bridge lights, some good redfish up in the bay. Snook are moving out, or snook have moved out. They're hanging out in the beaches around the passes, while redfish are doing the opposite, following that freshwater outflow and moving up into the back bay in upper bay waters. Snook action has been solid around the dock lights and bridge lights. We're on a quarter moon right now, so still pretty productive at night around artificial light sources. During the day, especially dawn and dusk, out on the beach has been real hot. Early morning before the crowds is definitely what I would suggest, especially on the quarter moon with slower moving water. Getting out there early morning or around sunset is always a good idea, or dock lights and bridge lights as well. During the heat of the day, you want to find those areas that are constrict water flow, areas that are going to help produce more moving water, more ambush points, and promote more productive and predatory action, like a dock in Johns Pass, for example. Like I said, some good steady redfish action, and should only get better as we move into the cooler months. We are seeing some mackerel around in the upper bay, some flounder on the edges. We are seeing some decent action, so it's a good time to get out there and do some catching if you have a chance to join us. Oh, commercials rolled on YouTube? Mm-hmm. My bad. Yeah, that might have been my fault. I should have warned you about that. We are turning the commercials off on YouTube. Thanks for the comments, guys. We'll fix that. All right, so we showed you what we're catching inshore. Now we're going to work our way in nearshore and offshore once Josh is finished here, and we'll show you what we're catching a little deeper, and then we'll get into the weather and your questions. Remember, if you have a question, you can start texting them to us to that phone number at the bottom of the screen. And you can also text your friends and tell them to join the show as well. Nearshore and offshore, gag grouper season kicks off tomorrow. Really, gag grouper season kicks off in about 4 hours and 19 minutes and 52 seconds. But who's counting, right? So exciting times with gag grouper season kicking off. We're seeing some big porgies out there, solid red snapper. We got about 15 more days of these red snapper, and then they're out of our lives until June of next year. So red snapper season's almost done. Red grouper will be hanging around for us. We got red grouper all year long, baby. Super pumped about that. Some fat red snapper action still. Seeing some 20-plus pounders, which is pretty cool to see. Some pretty steady action on these big red snapper, and some good opportunities on the Flying Hub 2, on the 12-hour extreme, on the 39-hour trip. All doing really well out there. Scamp grouper been pretty consistent, I would say, out there since we're fishing deeper for those red snapper, and even once gags open, we're still going to be fishing deep for those red snapper and gags. Triggerfish action, been going pretty steady for us too. Seeing some really nice triggerfish out there. So good eating. Some really good yellowtail action, pretty consistent on the yellowtail. Most of the time at night, early morning, around sunset. Most of the time a nighttime bite. But we are seeing them somewhat during the day as well, which is pretty cool. So good time to get out there. We are seeing the muttons as well. The pelagic action has been pretty solid. This 39-hour trip had mahi around the boat, and then a wahoo was chasing the mahi, so pretty cool to see the pelagic action and a lot of different species really, really going well for us offshore. Keep in mind, we have gag grouper season kicking off tomorrow, really tonight, like I said, at midnight. Also, we've got amberjack season kicking off. Amberjack is a weird one. We're going to talk a little bit about the Gulf Council meeting, so I don't want to talk too much about it, but amberjacks and gags kicking off September 1st, and snook season opens back up. I was reminded today about that too. So a lot of fish opening up tomorrow, and virtually for the next 14 days, we'll be able to catch anything we want and keep it, which is pretty interesting. All right, so let's pop on over to the Hubbard's Marina website page and talk a little bit about the weather. This is a little bit of a negative subject right now. Today was tough weather-wise. It was supposed to be 1 foot seas. So let's look at today. Oh, they changed it. It was literally no raindrops, just sunny conditions and less than 1 foot on the forecast for today. And it ended up raining virtually almost a majority of the day, and it ended up being like 3 foot. So this is let's go back to the weather links page on our website. This will actually show you really, really clearly here. So let's go to the buoy at Egmont Key, underneath the buoys on our weather links page. So blue, can you zoom in, Josh? That top graph, this top graph is what I want, as much as we can get it. Is that all we can do?
No.
It starts to distort.
That's about it.
That's it. That's all the way zoomed in. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right, so blue line is what it's actually doing. Red line is the GFS forecast. Orange line is the Euro forecast. So red line is what they show on Windfinder and what most people look at, the GFS forecast. The orange line is what they show on the Windy app. It's the Euro forecast. You can see today, starting this morning, Sunday morning, both the Euro and the GFS were forecasting 1 foot seas, where it was more like 2 foot seas. So it was a foot over. And as you got into this morning, it was 2 foot over what they were calling on the GFS model. Very, 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 very difficult forecast. Much more rough than forecasted. If you only looked at the Windfinder forecast, it really tricked a lot of people and created a tough situation offshore today. Plus, all the rain and weather on top of it did not help at all. And let's go back to the weather links page. That was the Egmont Key buoy. Let's look and show you guys. Let's see if I have it on here. I don't have it on here. Type in CP or CDIP. I think that was the other one. Type it in again. CD. See if the other one pops up. Yeah, 144. There it is. Look at that. Let's see if it populates. This is the offshore. Scroll up. Yeah. I'm getting it. So this is the offshore one. It's pretty much the same, which I thought was different. But offshore, you can see the blue line was even above the Euro forecast today. It really spiked up to 3 foot when the forecast was showing 1 foot. So just wanted to show you that it was not great. And then if you scroll forward, you can see here today was tough, and Monday and Tuesday is even tougher. It's not looking like a very calm start to gag season. It starts to calm down Tuesday, but tomorrow is going to be bumpy and difficult for the Flying Hub 2. Tuesday is going to be really difficult for the Flying Hub 2, but the 39-hour will be able to get out there no problem because they'll be cruising out and it'll be calming down. The rest of gag season looks like it's calming down for most of the weekend coming up. as we move forward, really once we get through Monday and Tuesday, which looks bumpy, not bumpy for the 39-hour, but the Flying Hub 2 trips on the 1st and 2nd are in a little bit of trouble. Wednesday the 3rd all the way through the coming weekend looks good. Potentially the 9th and beyond, we might have a little bit of a disturbance we're watching, but nothing crazy. So right now, that's what we're looking like gag grouper weather-wise. And your best weather options, your best days coming up, look like it's going to be like end of the work week, start of the weekend. Wednesday through Saturday, Sunday look the best. And then around the 8th or 9th, it might potentially pick up again, but we're going to keep an eye out. If you're booked on the 2nd, it definitely a little concerning on the Flying Hub 2, but the 39-hour you should be fine. Just a little bumpy on the way out. That's it weather-wise. Moving on from the weather, announcement-wise, want to talk a little bit about the Gulf Council meeting. So I just got back home from Texas. Was over there in Texas. Where was I? Austin? No. Austin? No, that's the San Antonio. I was in San Antonio, guys. That's where the Alamo is and the Riverwalk, and that's where our Gulf Council meeting was. And one disturbing piece of news that I wanted to share with you guys, because positivity, right? Triggerfish, man. Triggerfish is going through a stock assessment right now, and this wasn't on the council agenda. It's not something that was talked about publicly. This is a perfect reason of why I go to these meetings. Sitting at the bar, actually no, we were at the pool, smoking cigars, hanging out, talking about CDAR process, which is the Southeast Data Assessment Review process. That's where all the academics come together and fishermen have a chance to go to these data workshops, and they talk about data inputs that are going to be used for stock assessments. It's like the beginning of a stock assessment. And apparently the data workshop for gray triggerfish was not good. All the data inputs for triggerfish were very negative. So potentially that triggerfish stock assessment that's going to be probably completed next year might not have a good outcome. And we might see our triggerfish access dwindle, which is frustrating. Because I felt like triggerfish were pretty consistent, pretty solid. But apparently in parts of the Gulf, like the Western Gulf off of Texas and the Northern Gulf off of Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, are historically areas where like triggerfish are like hordes, swarms, and they're everywhere. And apparently they're just not showing up for them. Off our area, we never really had swarms of triggerfish, but they were always pretty consistent. They were always present. And I feel like that's how it is for us today, too. But we don't have the year classes of triggerfish, right? So for a healthy population, you have to see the small triggerfish, you have to see the medium triggerfish, you have to see the large triggerfish. We don't really see those small and medium triggerfish too much. So that's one thing they're concerned about in our area. But other areas, Northern Gulf, Western Gulf, they're just concerned about numbers. So we're going to keep an eye and an ear out for the triggerfish assessment process, because potentially that one might bite us in the butt coming up in the future. So won't be surprised if triggerfish regulations become stricter in the next probably year and a half, 2 years, because nothing moves fast at the federal government. But as far as what was on the agenda, we'll pop on over to gulfcouncil.org, their website. When you go to their website, right on the homepage, you can scroll down and you can look at the calendar, and it makes it real easy to see what's coming up and also what's happened this month. So you can just click on the council meeting and it'll bring you to the council agenda. Can we zoom in a little bit, Josh? Maybe a hair more, just so they could read it if they're on their phone. Perfect. So admin and budget committee, nothing really interesting there. Budget, it's public information. If you want to read through it, it's pretty interesting. It's about a $5 million budget, $4 million budget annually. CDAR committee is what I talked about, Southeast Data Assessment and Review. They basically talk about timing of upcoming stock assessments. One interesting note there is a gag grouper assessment is happening, which is really, really needed, because remember, we're being managed on gag grouper in 2025 based on 2019 data. So if they do a gag grouper assessment next year in 2026, hopefully by 2027, 2028, we'll have new regulations for gags based on updated science, which is much needed. Then they got into sustainable fisheries. They talked about these executive orders, which is interesting, potentially going to help us get our 20-fathom closure removed, potentially get our sea turtle requirements turned down. We have to carry a dog toy on our boats, and they expect us to bring these sea turtles on the boat and put dog toys in their mouth and dehook these turtles. It's the dumbest thing ever. And if you get pulled over and you don't have the proper dog toy, they give you a $1,500 ticket the first time and a $30,000 ticket the second time. Literally the dumbest thing, dumbest possible regulation. Because if we catch a 200-pound turtle, I can guarantee you it's not coming on the boat. Never will it make it on the boat. Because I'm not going to hurt myself or my crew trying to lift that thing on the boat. And those turtles can literally take your leg off with their beaks. They have an incredible bite force and a very hard beak. So it's an incredibly dangerous animal to bring on the boat alive. And it's much safer to dehook it in the water like a normal person. But, you know, someone in D.C. somewhere came up with these great turtle regulations. And don't forget your dog toy if you got a charter for hire boat, or you get a $1,500 fine. It's pretty ridiculous. Ask me how I know. Because we've got a $1,500 fine for improper dog toys. It's pretty funny. It's not funny, actually. So back to sustainable fisheries. They talked about some Coast Guard stuff. That was boring. Then Monday afternoon, they appointed Dr. Frazier to the SSC, which is cool because he was on the council. Then he got off the council. Dr. Mike Allen was on the SSC. He got appointed to the council. So now they kind of backfilled that open spot. Tuesday, they got into refish. This is where really the rubber met the road. They talked about modifications to the federal for-hire season. Next year, 2026, red snapper season for us, our federal for-hire season, should start the Friday before Memorial Day. No longer will it be June 1st. In 2026, our red snapper season will kick off the Friday before Memorial Day. So, first time in I don't know how many years. It's been like 15, 16, 18 years, something ridiculous. It's always been June 1st. It's got a little earlier. Now it's going to be the Friday before Memorial Day. So keep that in mind for 2026. Then they talked about deepwater grouper. It's not good. It's not good. Yellow edge, snowies. Quota's getting cut by like 60%, something like that. It's not good. And it's not finalized yet either, so a little bit of time left. Actually, wait. It was finalized. My bad. It was finalized. It's a big cut, and our recreational seasons aren't set, but we've got a very, very small quota of like 56,000 pounds off the top of my head, somewhere close to that. And recreational data is very, very, very unsure for this deep water fishery because they don't intercept a lot of snowy grouper and yellow edge at the old boat ramps. You know, most of the boats that go out there to deep water are big boats, expensive boats, go fast boats, and they return to private homes, so they don't get intercepted for the APIS or Angler Point Intercept Survey. So recreational data is lacking, and when intercepts don't happen, that means more guesses have to occur, more data extrapolation they call it, which is a fancy way of saying they guess. It's not good. Then they talked about shallow water grouper, which is more important to us because it included scamp. Scamp season, remember, for 2026 is only 6 months. It starts July 1st, 2026. Scamp season starts July 1st, runs through the end of the year. 2027 and beyond, it's going to get shorter. Haven't finalized this yet, but it's not going to be good. Not going to be good. Then they talked about red grouper. Red grouper, this one's positive. This is a positive note. Red grouper has gone all year. We're not expecting closures moving forward with red grouper. And after almost 10 years, about 9 years of trying, consistently asking, begging, pleading, trading, really working hard, we potentially in January 2026 might reach a finish line and finally get rid of the inequitable, unfair, predatory 20-fathom closure. That makes no sense. In February and March every year, you can't keep shallow water grouper if you're on a recreational boat outside of 20 fathoms. You can fish out there, but you can't keep any shallow water grouper. And then you can come inside of it. You can keep them. You can play this little game. It's totally unenforceable. Makes no sense. It doesn't apply to the commercial fleet. And it was in place to protect gag grouper, which they're not even open then anyway. So pretty silly. So finally, they've agreed to remove this 20-fathom closure, and it's in the document, and it's supposed to be finalized in January of 26, which means 2026, if it is finalized in January, there's still going to be a shallow water grouper closure in 2026. So still February and March, you won't be able to keep shallow water grouper beyond 20 fathoms, but it should hopefully be the last time that happens, which is pretty exciting stuff. At least for me. I've been working on that for a really long time. Very frustrating that it took this long. Then they talked about the recreational initiatives and prioritizing some of the outcomes. They talked about modifications to the mutton snapper and yellowtail snapper management measures, basically how much quota the Gulf gets versus the South Atlantic. And we're working to try to make sure we get the most possible quota because we're seeing more of them in the Gulf. Then they talked about some recreational data collection for deepwater grouper, potentially. Then they got into shrimp, which shrimp is not really our thing. Then they went into full council. So this is where they kind of reviewed all the stuff they talked about the rest of the meeting. So that's kind of the very quick 100,000-foot overview of what happened. Some negative, some positive, nothing really conclusive. It's a very long, drawn-out process that takes many months, years, decades sometimes. So nothing really conclusive, but some positive things in the works, some negative things in the works as well. So all things to keep our eyes and ears out for, and hopefully you guys enjoy the quick update. Gag season, again, September 1st through 14th, end of day. So the September 14th 39-hour, remember, you do not keep gags on that trip. That is our last red snapper trip, though, because you're back at midnight on the 15th. Jacks, amberjack season, not supposed to happen. Not supposed to happen. According to the data, NOAA was supposed to close the fishery. The Gulf Council knew about it. They were upset, but they don't have control over it. Quota was exceeded last year, so that triggers an accountability measure, which by MSA, Magnuson-Stevens Act, dictates that NOAA Fisheries has to close the season to prevent overfishing. So Southeast Regional Office of NOAA sent a letter to NOAA headquarters in Silver Springs, Maryland, like 2.5 months ago, saying, hey guys, supposed to close this amberjack season, open September 1st. Headquarters has lost that letter, ignored that letter, purposely thrown that letter away. No one really knows. Nothing has happened. So that means nothing has happened. September 1st, amberjack open up. So amberjack season opens tomorrow. It's not supposed to, but it's gonna. And that means we need to get out there and kill as many as we can and keep as many as we can, because most likely that quota's already been overrun. There's already supposed to be a payback. So any more fish have been caught or that are caught is just going to increase that payback and increase that quota overage. So most likely we are going to get some amberjack opportunities, but any fish that are landed are going to count against us even more in 2026. So I would assume that we're going to get a couple weeks of amberjack, maybe a month, who knows? We don't really know. No idea when amberjack's going to close. But when it does, whatever was caught is going to really have to be paid back, and it's going to take a while to pay it back. So potentially not going to really get an amberjack opportunity next year, maybe even the next year after that. So this is really your last opportunity for amberjack for a while. So get out there and go get them, because you're not going to have much time for sure. All right. I think that was all the updates I have, so it's time to get into some of your questions. But before we get into your questions, it is time to do a giveaway as well. But before we do a giveaway, we got to give a shout out to one of our partners. So let's go ahead and do our 5-hour half-day trip 5-hour half-day trip for one lucky winner, 2 guests. It's brought to you by our friends over at Friendly Fisherman Seafood Restaurant. That is our neighbor next door in Johns Pass. They have an incredible deal that they're running right now on cobia. Cobia is the special this month at the Friendly Fisherman, which is cool because we don't catch a lot of cobia as of late, and it's a really, really good eating fish. They have cobia tacos, 5-ounce tacos, for $16. It comes with fries or a different side. It's also an 8-ounce entree meal option for $21.99. Comes with fritters, slaw, and fries as well. So crazy killer deals on cobia. Plus, they've got sea scallop special right now, which I have personally tried, and it's amazing. They've got some special key lime pie going on. They've got some killer drink specials too. So stop on down and see our friends at Friendly Fisherman Seafood Restaurant right next door to Hubbard's Marina. You can come on down and do a dolphin tour, get $7 all-day parking, and then hit Friendly Fisherman for lunch or dinner after your dolphin cruise, or hit it for dinner before your sunset cruise, or go out to the island and do some shelling and come back and grab some lunch, or go fishing with us at Hubbard's Marina. Go over to the Friendly Fisherman Seafood Restaurant, and they will offer to cook your fresh catch from your fishing trip. And you can grab some sea scallops special, because nothing says fresh fish like a little bit of sea scallops on the side, and maybe some key lime pie for dessert, maybe waterfront deck, some fresh cocktails. So we're going to give away a free trip now, so you could go do a half-day trip, go get your fish cooked up, make a day of it. It's pretty special. So let's see who the lucky winner is of our 5-hour half day for 2 guests. One lucky winner brought to you by our friends at Friendly Fisherman Seafood Restaurant. Count me down, Josh. You ready? He's ready. Here we go. Let's see who won the 5-hour half day for 2 guests, brought to you by our friends at Friendly Fisherman Seafood Restaurant. Is Ray Rouse from Titusville, Florida. Congratulations, Ray Rouse. You've got 5 minutes or less to text us your full home address. We'll send you out that certificate for a 5-hour half day for 2 guests. And then you can pop over to the Friendly and get some fish cooked up after. All right. Let's see what else we got. Is the amberjack season going to close? It is. At some point, it's supposed to be, normally would be open September and October. So there's a chance it could be open all of September and October. There's a chance it could close next week. There's a chance it could close a month from now. Totally unsure. This is very weird area. No one really knows, and no one's really understanding the situation. So we don't know what's going to happen with amberjack. So get out there and get them while you can. Is there a way to know what kind of current we'll be dealing with on Tuesday 39-hour trip coming up? No. Short answer, no, unfortunately, because we don't know exactly where we're going to be fishing. We don't know exactly what the current's going to be doing. It can kind of be dictated by the moon phase a little bit. Right now we're on a quarter moon phase this weekend. Next weekend is a full moon. So this Sunday coming up is a full moon. So if you're on the Tuesday trip, as in like September 2nd, most likely going to be a little bit of a slower moving current. Might not have current issues, but if you're on the Friday 44-hour trip or the Sunday 39-hour trip coming up, current chances might be higher because you're right on a full moon. And that full moon or new moon is going to increase the current possibilities offshore. Now, sometimes you can go out there on a quarter moon when the current's supposed to be slow, and the current can be bad because a loop current can have a little loop eddy, or loop current can come in closer to us, or we could go deeper and get in an area of thermoclining current. So it's difficult to know, but generally around a new and full moon, you're going to have a little bit higher of a chance of some worse or some higher current, more current. And especially as we're fishing deeper, which we are fishing deeper right now for those big gags and also the big red snapper. Tony Barnes changed his name on YouTube to Duke's Mayo is the best. Yeah. Loser. We love you, Tony, but we don't like Duke's Mayo. That's pretty funny, though. Your thoughts of trying to jig on a 10-hour trip. 10-hour trips, jigging in general, slow pitch jigging is really, really good for anglers who are pretty advanced And the more practice you have, the better you are at it, the more successful you are at it. And if you're a little less practiced, if you're newer to jigging, deeper is better. The deeper you go, the more often jigs are more productive, because as you get deeper, there's a lot more aggressive fish around, there's a lot more volume of fish, and that jig is something a little bit more unique. Those fish don't see as much pressure. There's a lot of different reasons why it works better deeper. 120 foot, 150 foot of water or more, jigging is really, really productive, even for less experienced jiggers, because you can get out there and kind of start learning your way, and there's fish like red snapper that are going to bite literally anything in front of them. There's fish like triggerfish that are curious and will bite anything in front of them. You have more volume of more aggressive fish. If you're fishing in 100 foot of water, 80 foot of water, 70 foot of water on a 10-hour trip, those fish see a lot of pressure. There's not fish out there like red snapper that just eat anything. So it's a little bit more tricky inshore on a 10 hours to do slow pitch jig fishing. It does work. There are super experienced fishermen that do a lot of what's called micro jigging with 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 gram jigs, and they're very successful. But it is for super experienced jig fishermen, not really your run-of-the-mill jig fisherman. Any chance of Captain Frank coming down to do a couple hogfish trips? Yeah, there's a chance. I haven't talked to him about that, but he has definitely worked with a lot of our team. Captain Seabass specifically, Captain Dylan is very well trained and coached and experienced himself. And once those hogfish start concentrating, that water starts to cool down, I'm very confident we're going to see a lot of those hogfish on those 10-hour trips once again. But you never know. Maybe Captain Frank might make an appearance. How are the 12-hour night trips doing? Speaking of Captain Dylan, he's been doing really well. Captain Dylan Kilgore, Captain James, who we affectionately call Monkey, runs a lot of those night snappers. So Captain James Dutton, Captain Dylan Kilgore, and they've been doing well on the 12-hour night snapper trips. Overall, there's some that are a little softer than others, some that are a little bit more difficult than others, but really it's been lately, if the weather's good, we're not dealing with bumpy conditions or high current, the fishing has been really good. But there's been a couple trips where it's been bumpy or the current's been tough, or it's been bumpy and the current's tough, and that makes fishing a little bit tricky for sure. So it's been very, very weather dependent. What is the better tasting snapper or grouper? What is better tasting, snapper or grouper? It depends. I would say there's some snapper and grouper that tastes very good. I would say of the grouper, my favorite are going to be smaller ones. So like a 16, 17, 18 inch scamp, one of those younger scamps are really good, like veal, right? Very, very good. Small scamps. Also really like the hinds, the strawberry grouper as we call them, the Graysbees, the red hind, yellow hind, rock hinds, all very small grouper species that are very good tasting. Yellow edge grouper is very good. We get that in our Don's Dock seafood market quite a bit. And sometimes we get those little 10-inch yellow edge. They don't last long in the case because they are crazy good eating. Out of the snapper species, I really like a yellowtail snapper. Probably one of my favorite snapper species. Let's see. Mangrove snapper, real good. Vermilions are cool if you're going to eat them right away. Really all the snapper tastes pretty good. I think red snapper is a little overrated. A lot of people say that, oh, that's the best eaten snapper, but I don't think so. I think they're pretty low on the list of eaten snappers, in my opinion. But I would say probably grouper tastes better, in my opinion. But a yellow edge or a yellowtail snapper is pretty darn good. Hard to beat. Fresh yellowtail. What tips, techniques would you give for catching live baits to use for grouper while offshore on your 39-hour trip? The best tip: do a half day. Do a 5-hour half day before your 39-hour. That is going to get you the biggest possible bait. Catching one of those white grunts, or what we call gray snapper, and bringing those out there are the best bait for sure. some people sending links about the city manager of Madeira Beach being gone. Yes, I'm very aware. I was at the meeting, I spoke, and he gave up. He left. So the city manager of Madeira Beach should officially be removed from his office. September 9th is the next meeting. And they're going to vote on his separation agreement. Then the city has 24 hours to instill an interim city manager, and then that interim city manager will sit in that spot and fill that role until they can get a headhunter and go out there and try to hire permanent replacement. So we'll see. Mutton snapper. I was trying to think of the mutton. Mutton snapper is very good eating. Yes, I would agree. Right up there with yellowtail. Do you know why they don't use slot limits on grouper? Yes, because of barotrauma. Barotrauma is the reason there is not a slot limit on grouper. Because one of the things they worry about with gags, for example, is we don't have a lot of the big male gags. So if you had a slot limit, that would ensure if you catch a gag over 35 inches, you got to throw it back. That would be nice, but the problem is when you're offshore fishing, the bigger the fish, the harder they fight. The harder they fight, they come up more stressed. The more stressed they are, the more tired they are, the harder it is for them to return to bottom and live. So if they're legally able to be harvested, it's a good idea to harvest them because the likelihood, the chance that they're going to pass away is high. So got to use a descending device, a lot of weight. So we've been catching some of these big 30, 35, 40-pound gags when season was closed. And we have to very quickly take a picture, get them on a descending device, make sure we have plenty of weight, and try to get them back down there. But when they're really, really big, they took a long time to get in. They're real stressed. Sometimes they just don't want to make it. And it's very sad. So that's why there's not a slot limit, because those big fish, you got to wrestle them up. And it's a lot of times the discard mortality rate is high, meaning when you discard or throw back that fish, the mortality rate, the death rate is high. So with the discard mortality rate high due to barotrauma, which is the buildup of gas as you retrieve that fish up from the bottom, is why there's no slot limit. Remember, if you're on the bottom in 120 foot of water and you filled up a Publix bag with air and you swam to the surface, by the time you got to the surface, that Publix bag will have expanded and exploded. Much like if you leave a water bottle in your car in Florida in the summer, when you come back into the car at the end of the day, that water bottle looks like it's about to explode. It's all expanded. It's because the heat of the car caused the water to become gas. And the gas inside the bottle expands and increases the internal pressure of that bottle. Sometimes you just take a little spin of the cap and it'll shoot out. It's the same thing in these fish. When you have a fish on the bottom at pressure and then you quickly reel it up to the top, the pressure inside the fish in these internal organs, in the stomach, in the swim bladder, expand. And that gas has to go somewhere. It'll go out of their mouth. It'll go out of their anus. It'll even go out from underneath its scales. And that pressure has to be released with a descending device or a venting tool for that fish to be able to get back down the bottom and live. All right. Let's see. Next question. Do you still go out on the trips? I try to do as many as I can, but I don't get to do as many as I would like, especially nowadays. I am blessed to be very busy, but we have some things in the works that are going to hopefully fix that and get me out in the water more frequently. So stay tuned. Exciting stuff. We'll see. How many captains does Hubbard's Marina employ? We have around 86 employees. We have about, I would say 12 fishing boat captains off the top of my head. About 8 pleasure cruise captains who do our dolphin tours, island trips, shelling trips, that kind of thing. We have a lot of captains, a lot of crew, a lot of staff members, a lot of fuel dock, seafood market, dock master, booth people. We have boat builders. We build our own boats. We do a lot of different things. We have a ferry service, potentially some other stuff. So we've got 2 very exciting possibilities coming soon. So stay tuned. Stuff is happening, expanding. Let's see here. Angel Parent Perez, appreciate that super chat on YouTube. Thank you very much. Jason Richmond, appreciate those stars on Facebook as well, buddy. Appreciate the stars on Facebook and the super chats on YouTube. Definitely helps fuel the show and keep us going. Can you all make a video on how to comment? Just made a YouTube account and will not allow us to comment. That is a great idea. We should make a little tutorial video on how to comment. That would be wise. So we will work on that. Good idea. All right. What constitutes proper and improper dog toy for the turtle? It's specific sizes and brands. They want a Kong toy of all the toys, or it could be a hank of rope or a small piece. I think the CFRs. This is in the CFRs, the Code of Federal Regulations. I think it's also a piece of hardwood, and there's specific hardwood rope and dog toy specifications in the turtle things. It's so dumb. But yes, that is a real thing, and yes, it is in the Code of Federal Regulations. What's up, Josh?
This comment here.
What do we got?
This is referring to the comments on YouTube.
Oh, new accounts can't comment?
Yeah, I think it's like 15 or 30 minutes.
New accounts can't comment for 15 or 30 minutes. But even if you don't have a new account, so it is a little bit difficult to comment if you don't know how to make the comments appear, the live comments. So we will make a little video and try to teach you guys how. It's a little challenging, but we'll figure it out together. All right, what else we got? 12-hour Tuesday still a go, and yes, we are monitoring the weather. As I mentioned earlier in the show, tomorrow's weather is looking a little challenging, and potentially Tuesday's weather as well. So we're kind of monitoring the weather and trying to figure it out. We should have a decision on Tuesday very shortly. Tomorrow, probably early to mid-afternoon, I would imagine. Matthew Deals, appreciate the Spotted Cow beer and venison sausage. That venison sausage was incredible. Ate the snack sticks right away for sure. Super awesome. Definitely appreciate y'all stopping by. All right, what else we got? Oh, is it time for another giveaway? You're right, and then we'll answer some more questions. So let's do the 10-hour all day for one lucky winner, 2 guests, 10-hour all day. This one is brought to you by our friends over at Innovative Pools and Spa. Remember, Innovative Pools and Spa brings you 35 years of experience building pools in the Tampa Bay area, over 3 decades of experience in building and continuing their father's company, which is recognized as a top pool builder. They continue to raise the bar in pool construction, design, and features, and they have an unparalleled passion for the industry. Call them today at 727-788-1650 or visit them online at innovativepoolsandspa.net for an estimate to see why Innovative Pools and Spa is a top choice for families in our community. And remember, they've got a $49,000 pool special right now. You can get a 12 by 24 foot pool up to 6 foot of depth for less than $50,000, and that comes with top-notch quality pumps and filters and really cool pebble finish. So killer deals over there at Innovative Pools and Spa. Just mentioned Hubbard's Marina or Real Animals, and they'll hook you up. All right, 10-hour all-day trip. You ready, Josh? Lucky winner is Tina Fennel. You got 5 minutes or less watching from Largo to text us your full home address. We're kind of in Largo too right now. We're just south of you. We're neighbors. All right, let's see what else we got. I live out of state. Can I call Don's Dock and get them to ship me fish? We used to do that really infrequently, and the Hurricane Helene took out much of our logistics in order to be able to ship fish. Plus, also, we didn't do it that much because it's super stupid expensive. It's like $250 to ship fish if you live near an airport. So we just didn't do it that frequently, because once people were like, oh, ship me some fresh fish, and then when they found out how much it costs, because the fresh fish is a little costly in and of itself, and then you add the shipping on top of it, you're talking 300, 350, 400 bucks, and then it becomes a little price prohibitive. So we kind of got out of the shipping thing, but we can do it. So shoot me an email, info@hubbardsmarina.com, and I can look into it for you if you're super interested, but it is crazy expensive. We always try to talk people out of it and kind of teach them cheaper ways to do it, because we want to save you money. We want you to come on down and join us in the area. Catch your fresh seafood, or stop by Don's Dock, get your fresh seafood, and cook it up at the Friendly Fisherman next door. For next week's 39-hour trip, how long of leader should I pre-tie, and what size hooks for the biggest bait? So you're fishing for gags, right? So focus on gags. 80-pound test is about the smallest you want to do. 100-pound test is a really good idea. I would be fishing mostly 100, maybe even 125-pound test, and I'd be using at least an 8-9-aught hook. But if you're fishing big baits, you got to match the size of your hook to your bait. So if you've got a real big bait, you want to be using like a 10, 12-aught hook, and you want to be using heavy tackle, a reel with 40, 45 pounds of drag. You want to have 60, 80-pound main line. You want to have 80, 100, or 125-pound leader. Definitely, you want to make sure you got the power, and you need to be ready, because these are big fish we're going after. And I wouldn't be fishing for mangroves while we're gag fishing. If you are fishing for mangroves, I would be using at least 60 or 80-pound leader too. Some big leaders, big fish. Don't mess it up, because what'll happen is we go gag fishing. You got 20 people on the boat, everybody dropping down big 100-pound leaders, 10-aught hooks, and big baits. And then you got one person who drops down 40-pound test. Guess who's going to get bit? The person with 40-pound test. And guess who's going to lose the fish? The person with 40-pound test. If everybody drops 100-pound test, guess what? Fish will bite 100-pound test. But if you got one person using lighter tackle, it's going to get bit first, and it's going to get broke off, because you can't land one of these big gags using light tackle. Got to use heavy tackle. And if everybody's using the same heavy tackle, we can be successful, and we can catch more fish. Are triple tail caught inshore much? Yes. We're starting to get into that time of year again. Spring and fall, they're heaviest. All summer, they're around, mostly around the markers. Triple tail isn't something we do a lot, because we're not inshore fishermen, but Mike does that often, and he can get you hooked up with a triple tail charter. Remember, right on our website, if you go to our website, hubbardsmarina.com, and once on our homepage of our website, click private charters, click private charter fishing, and hit inshore fishing, and that'll bring you to the inshore fishing page with Captain Mike Anderson, and it's got his website, and it's got a phone number here, right here. That's Captain Mike Anderson's cell phone number. You can call him, get a charter booked, tell him Hubbard's Marina sent you. So check out the website and get on a triple tail charter. If you have a stern spot on the 39-hour, what lures should you bring to troll? Rapala X-Wrap, Nomad DTX, a lot of planers and spoons on the way out. First 20, 30 miles, planer and spoon, like a number 1 or number 2 planer. About 15 foot of 60-pound test and a drone spoon is a good idea. And then once you're out there 25, 30 miles, then switch over to the lipped diving plug. Nomad DTX, Rapala X-Wrap, Shimano Bonita, all good options. Does the Flying Hub ever do night trips? No, because of the fuel burn, we have to fuel during open hours, so we mainly stick to daytime trips only. Plus, going fast at night, not safe. So we try to save the fast boat for the daytime runs. What is a hot bait on the 12-hour night trips? Cut threadfin. You can catch some big mangroves on some small to medium pinfish too. So definitely good options to have maybe a dozen pinfish on a 12-hour night trip. But a lot of the cut threadfin double snell rig is what I'd be doing. How often do you see gags on the 12-hour night trip? Not super often. We're not really targeting them. Really, if you want to get gags, you want to do a 12-hour extreme, 39-hour. You got a chance for them on the 12-hour night trip, but that's a trip where a lot of people are using 40-pound test, so we break a lot of fish off. So I would guess that we are going to hook some gags on a 12-hour night trip, but most people are fishing 30, 40-pound leaders with the spinning reel, and you got no chance of landing a gag grouper, a keeper, even a small keeper gag like that on a party boat, especially in shallower waters, because there's something about shallower waters, those gags are even more aggressive. When they're in deeper water, once you get them up off the bottom and they lose sight of bottom, they kind of stop fighting. But in shallow water, when you're in 80, 90 or less, they don't lose sight of bottom. So they will fight you all the way to the surface. And they are much more frisky because the barotrauma doesn't get to them. So they'll fight you all the way to the boat. Whereas offshore, once they lose sight of bottom and that barotrauma starts to get to them, they give up. All right, what else we got here? If you had a third big boat, would you create new trips, 20 hours? No. We would never run a 20-hour trip, ever. The reason why is Coast Guard regulations. If you have a trip that's greater than 12 hours, you have to have 2 captains, 2 crew. You have to have a lot more people on the boat, and you have to have a lot more payroll to go with that. You got to pay your peoples, right? So when you have any trip greater than 12 hours, it significantly increases the cost of the trip, the overhead of the trip. So if we offered like an 18 or 20-hour trip, we would still be charging the price of a 39-hour. So it doesn't really make sense, right? So if we had a third big party boat, what we would probably have it do is more 10-hour trips. Right now we only have 10-hour trips 3 days a week. We don't have 10-hour trips on Sunday or Saturdays. We don't have 10-hour trips on Fridays. So we would probably utilize a third big party boat for more 10-hour trips and some more 39-hour trips and private charters, basically, would be the goal. That would be my goal. That's what I would do if I had a third big party boat, which potentially might happen very soon. Who knows? How is the hogfish bite? Right now, it's starting to get okay. We're starting to see a few more hogfish, but it's early. It's still, water's still real hot. Cold fronts need to start coming. Cold fronts come, water gets a little bit cooler. It concentrates those hogfish. Low pressures concentrate the hogfish, and I think that's potentially what's making these hogfish start to bite already. Is we're getting low pressures. They're not cold fronts, but there's these tropical depressions that keep kind of trying to form on top of us. We got another one coming Monday, Tuesday. So we have these low pressure systems that cause a little bit of adverse weather. So I think the hogfish are getting tricked a little bit. So I think that's what's helping kind of get the bite started. But once the water temps really start to cool, those cold fronts really start to roll, I think it's going to concentrate the hogs even more. Who is the best fisherman? Your grandfather, father, uncles, or you? Man, I definitely would not try to say that I'm a better fisherman than my father or my grandfather by any stretch of the imagination. And also my uncle Jeff has a pretty legendary cat himself. So I would say we all have our own different styles and our own different strengths. And I personally have not ran the boats as much as I would have liked. My life trajectory has changed quite a bit over time, and my life plan, your best laid plans, right, never kind of works out according to plan. I wanted to be a deckhand for a lot of years. I enjoyed drinking and having a good time and not having responsibility, but I hurt my back, and that kind of put me in a position where I kind of had to get off the boats, and got into the office and started managing and got into the marketing realm and found out I'm decent at it, and I enjoy it, and I enjoy working with people, and I enjoy doing what I do. And I fought my way back onto the boats, and I ran the boats for a couple years there. When I turned 21, got my license. I ran the Hub for 2 years, ran the Flying Hub 1, ran the Flying Hub 2 a little bit, ran the party boats as well, but I never really did the 10, 15, 20 years at the helm. I'm still a pretty young guy myself, and I'm spread thin, but it's a good problem to have, and I enjoy what I do, and I enjoy my position, and I have a really great team of people, very blessed to have an incredible team of people around to make it possible. And we have amazing captains, and we continue to attract really, really positive talent. And that's my focus, growing. Because I could run the boats a lot, but when you're offshore, it's hard to grow a company. So you have to find your balance and find your peace. And I am definitely at peace doing what I'm doing, and that's my focus. Is there any night gag trips? Not really. 12-hour extreme, 39-hour gives you nighttime fishing. 44-hour gives you nighttime fishing as well. Let's see what else we got. Got time for a few more. What brand of 100-pound fluorocarbon leader should you be using for the 39-hour trip? The Offshore Angler stuff at Bass Pro is great. We use the Yozuri ones in our office. We also have Trickfish. I personally like the Offshore Angler fluorocarbon. That's what I use the most personally, or the Yozuri, depending on what's in my tackle bag. How long of a leader to tie from sinker to your hook? I don't go very long for gags, because remember, the battle with gags is you are literally in a battle. As soon as he bites and starts to go, he's going for his rock. And you have to get on that handle and start cranking like a madman and really outpower that fish. So if you got a really long leader, he's going to get a step ahead of you. He's going to get a little bit extra help. So you don't want to go too long, but you also want to make sure you balance it and have a good white tablecloth presentation, right? You don't want to have the Waffle House presentation using a chicken rig. You want to make sure you have a nice slip lead, egg sinker, your egg sinker on your main line, your swivel. You got a nice leader stretched out nicely, your bait's far away from your sinker. But it can't be 6, 7, 8 foot away, because that long leader is just going to allow that gag to rock you up before you even know he bit. So I would keep it like maybe 4 foot. About 4 foot is a good overall starting size. Sometimes I might go a little longer than 4 foot, depending on the style of fishing or the bite. If the bite's a little bit tough, maybe a little bit longer leader. But about 4 foot's a good starting size for sure. I always, if you're pre-tying leaders, I always tie longer. I always tie about 5, 5.5 foot. So that way when I'm fishing, if the bite's a little bit soft, I can do a longer leader by just leaving a shorter tag. If the bite's hot, everybody's doing well, I'll start shorter, 4 foot, and I'll just cut a little bit off before I tie on that leader, you know. So it's always a good, if you're pre-tying leaders, tie them extra long. Is it too late to order pinfish if you're going on the 39-hour Tuesday? If you call us early tomorrow, that's Monday. It's a little late, but you might be able to get us if you call us early tomorrow. We'll see. I fished another head boat in your area. We had a good stringer of gray snapper, but when we got back to the dock, we were missing most of our fish. Is this a problem at Hubbard's? Everybody makes mistakes, right? But what sets us apart is you can go fishing anywhere, right? A lot of different party boats in our area along our coast. What sets us apart is we guarantee an excellent client experience with superior guest service, and I personally stand behind that. So am I going to sit here and say that never happens? No, I won't say that, because it does happen. People make mistakes. Sometimes a customer will grab the wrong stringer. Sometimes a crew member gets confused on the boat. Sometimes a crew member hands out the wrong stringer. Someone says 6 and you accidentally grab a 9, right? So mistakes happen. So I'm not going to say that doesn't happen. But if it does happen, I can guarantee you that we're going to try everything in our power to make it right. So that's what sets us apart is I really focus on the customer service, because we guarantee an excellent client experience with superior guest service, but we can't control the weather, right? And we can't make fish bite, but we can be as upfront, honest, and transparent about the weather and fishing as we can be. And we can do shows like this and give you free trips and tell you the tips and the tricks and the techniques and what days the weather is going to be best, like we did earlier in the show. So we try to be transparent. We try to give and provide the best possible customer experience. We try to have the best possible team to help you out, captains and crew members and office staff. So that's what sets us apart, is our dedication to customer service. And We haven't been around for nearly 100 years and 4 family generations, making a habit of losing people's fish. Does it happen? Yes. Can it happen? Yes. Does it happen often? I would hope not. What knot do you recommend for a braid top shot? We actually had a really good conversation about this last week with Captain Steve Pappin when he was on our show as a guest. He was talking about the PR bobbin knot and the FG knot. PR bobbin knot being the best, FG knot being the second best. I personally like a reverse Albright knots, but the best is definitely the PR bobbin followed by the FG knot. But there are some faster ones. But if you want it to go through your guides, you really need a specialty one, something like the Albright or PR bobbin or the FG knot. But the fastest and easiest is a double uni knot, but that's not really going to go through your guides. On a 100-pound leader, do you use crimps or knots? No, knots, 100%. You don't need crimps until you're like 200-pound test. Even 125, 150 pound, you can still tie knots, no problem. Can't tie crazy knots, but you can tie a nail knot, no problem. Is the 2-speed Shimano Speedmaster 16 big enough reel for the 39-hour trip? 100%. Is it big enough for gags? It's a little, it's on the borderline. I think it has about 35, 40 pounds of drag. So it can potentially land a gag, but I'd want a 20 or 25 if I was going gag fishing. All right, we are out of time. We're going to do our last giveaway of the night. That is our 39-hour trip. For one lucky winner, we're going to give away a $499 trip to you guys now. Appreciate everybody tuning in and hanging out and watching. Remember, this show is every Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. live on our Hubbard's Marina YouTube and Hubbard's Marina Facebook pages. I appreciate everybody tuning in and hanging out with us and joining us for sure. Jason Richmond, appreciate those super chat on Facebook or on YouTube there for sure. Definitely appreciate that support, y'all. And all those who sent stars on Facebook and also our supporters group. What time is the supporters after show, Josh? 8:50. 850 is the supporters after show. So if you're in our supporters group on Facebook, join us in there for the supporters after show, where we're going to talk a little bit more, dive into a little bit deeper, and answer your questions even more in depth. So join us for the supporters after show if you're in our supporters group. Hopefully we'll see you all next week for another episode, and we'll have some gag grouper photos to show you guys. And hopefully be talking about all the great fishing that we have coming up this week. Hopefully you guys have a great week as well. Don't forget, we have dolphin tours, we've got island trips, we've got shelling trips, we've got sunset cruises, we have eco tours, we have ash scattering trips, memorial trips, we do private charters, we do it all at Hubbard's Marina. Plus we've got the Don's Dock Seafood Market. If you're too busy to go fishing, you can stop by and get your fresh seafood today. Don't forget to check out our partners over at Innovative Pools and Spa, Gator Jim's Tackle, and of course our friends at the Friendly Fisherman Seafood Restaurant. And our last partner of the night, the sponsor of the 39-hour giveaway tonight, is our friends at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Team Outdoors. Check them out, and don't forget to check out the Offshore Angler fluorocarbon tackle. We also have their Seafire reels that we use for our rental rods. If you come out and do a 12-hour with us, a 12-hour extreme, a 39, a 44-hour trip, we're going to give you one of those Seafire reels as a rental. It is an incredible reel. It really holds up well, and it's got a really powerful drag and a really good gear ratio too. And it's an affordable setup. So definitely check out the Seafire reel if you're looking for something a little bit more high-end. They have the Ocean Master series. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's have a big line of really impressive tackle that stands up to some serious offshore abuse. We've been testing and working with them to produce a lot of their stuff over the years. The Offshore Angler hooks, the fluorocarbon, all that stuff. Really, really quality stuff. That's what I fish with personally and continue to use. So check it out. With that, let's see who won our 39-hour trip. For one lucky winner, 39-hour trip goes to... Didn't he already win one? That's a weird one. Well, we'll have to switch screens here.
No, I just go.
Just do it again? All right, hit the button. $39-hour giveaway goes to Jennifer Chazelle from Georgia. Happy Labor Day, Jennifer. Y'all have a good night. Tight lines. Hopefully we'll see you sometime soon inside John's Pass at Hubbard's Marina. We'll see you next week for another episode, too. And supporters in the after show at 8:50. Y'all have a good night, tight lines. We'll see you soon.